Hey guys, welcome back and welcome to the signature segment, See the Stories on the 3-Hour News Show. Now, before we continue, because we already have our guest for this afternoon, now I want to ask my colleague here, Rasha.
Yeah.
Now, first regarding your career, when you first finished your bachelor's, right? Now, what was it like switching that life from student life to what do you call it, the worker-like or the corporate life environment? How was it like for you?
So, for your information, before being an anchor, I also work in a corporate consulting and then startup world for a few years. I remember, I think, from being a student to becoming a worker, it's different kind of politics, different kind of stakeholders management, right? I think being a student, you have the syllabus, you have the curriculum that you can just follow. Being a professional, though, you need to sort of manage your own time, especially when you go into consulting. You have a lot of autonomy on how you manage your workload, right? So it obviously requires a lot of different changes, but I think the generation nowadays are pretty lucky because there's a lot of information out there, including in our next guest, right?
Of course. Now, talking about professional career and how we live with it daily, joining us in the studio is Samuel Ray. Whichever word. My day about naming with everybody's names. So, a professional, a human resources professional and content creator who will talk to us about his latest book. It's called Buku Anak Kantoran. Ray, welcome. Ko Sam, yeah? We call you Ko Sam, yeah?
Thank you so much
for coming into the studio. And again, before we start, I think we want to congratulate you because this book is coming out, right?
Next week.
Next week, so
yes,
we kind of talked a little bit before being on air. But again, you said that you're so excited about this book coming out, yeah?
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about this book? What inspired you?
Okay, so since we're talking about office life and Rasha already shared about her experience, I happen to be the internet's dumping bucket for everyone's office story. So what I do...
How is it to be like that?
Yeah.
It's interesting because what I do on my channel is I promise anonymity. Anyone can share anything they want. So it's interesting what people share to you when you give them anonymity. Some people say, I hate my office. Some people say, I love my boss.
Right.
Some people say, I love my boss a bit too much. so that's the kind of stories that I interact with. Thanks to my followers daily, they share, and I try to give them perspective from my point of view as an HR professional. So when I started doing this, I already had 8 years of experience in HR. So I see people getting promoted, I see people getting laid off. It's not a very beautiful sight to see, of course. But throughout my 8 years of experience, I knew I had something to share to my followers. So that began the daily interaction, which I do usually every day on 5 p.m. when people are commuting home.
Right.
So then from these interactions, it came to me that, hey, there should be a book that gives them a sense of structure so people can read and can learn from these stories that I gather and also the insight that I have as an HR professional.
Can you share a bit more on the structure of the book?
Sure.
What are the contents?
So the book is about a journey from the first day that we are in the office until how we adapt to the office life, how we get promoted, how we can build a successful career, and hopefully one day maybe we need to graduate from the office, moving to another thing that we do. So that's kind of I kind of built the book along that story arc. So I try to become the friend to the reader who's going through this journey. So hopefully people who read the book can relate and can also learn from the stories in the book. So yeah.
How do you differentiate though between the journey of graduating from one company to graduating from overall corporate life?
Okay, interesting question. I think each of us have different goals when we're building our career, and I think that's the message in the first chapter of the book. I share about building your career with a purpose. So some of my purpose 10 years ago when I started my career changed today. So I think it's also important to be able to allow this conversation between the readers of the book, that it's okay if you want to stay in a company or move to a bigger company or graduate from corporate life altogether. Nothing wrong with any of it, as long as you have a clear plan and as long as you have a focus and determination to achieve what's ahead for you.
Sorry, Ranga, I just have one follow-up question.
Go ahead.
So what is the difference between managing your career with a purpose and finding your passion? How does it differ?
Okay, interesting because I touched on the topic of passion in this book. I read a different book, and in the process of researching for this book, it's called So Good They Can't Ignore You. It's by a Stanford professor called Newport. So I love his book, absolutely love his book, because I think the younger generation have been too focused on passion, and we kind of romanticize the idea of finding our passion at work.
Yeah.
I think I'm also the victim of 2011, 2012 motivator hype. Everyone's watching televised motivators, and in the end, we become products of that era that sort of, okay, I have to find connection between what I do at work and what I'm passionate at. While in reality, deriving from the discussion that I have with my followers and what they share with me, it's actually okay if those things do not exist in the same place.
Career.
Yeah, in the same area. You can be okay about office life and you can be passionate about something on the weekend, and that's fine. And that's also what I'm trying to tell my audience. Being passionate about something is good, but at work, it's more important to be good at what you do, to be excellent in your as a news anchor, as a writer, as whatever you do. It's good. It's more important to be focused on your craft, so that whatever you go, whatever you do, wherever you go, people will find and seek you because, hey, I know this guy. He has good quality of work. Yeah.
And then maybe after that, then you are offered to do other things, and maybe then your passion and your skill collide, right?
Yes.
Amazing.
Really good explanation, because again, sometimes the lines are so close together. It's a blurry line for most, for a lot of people actually.
That's true.
Now let's talk a little bit about the creative part, the production part of this book. How long did it take you to produce it, to write it?
Okay, so it happens during the pandemic. So I started writing from 2020, and the book got published this year. So and I try to make the experience as rewarding as possible to the reader. So I don't want it to be just about my perspective or my stories as a content creator, but I also want to include other people that I find interesting in their office life. I interview a person who was a career woman, and then suddenly she got TikTok famous.
Yeah.
So she was in the book. I interview an HR director who became an HR director from a non-HR background. So she was a marketer all her life, and then suddenly opportunity comes, she becomes an HR director.
Okay.
I asked her questions about passion and how about being someone who didn't have the expertise, but then suddenly you have to do HR all of a sudden. I also interview a comedian. I also interview a comedian who I got to know from social media, and he made sarcastic jokes about office life actually, but I find wittiness in his sense of humor. So interviewing all these people and meeting them offline, it took time. And also personally, I was going through fatherhood.
Oh, congratulations.
I had my baby daughter back in 2020, so she's a COVID-19 baby.
Okay.
The good side is I get to spend a lot of time with the baby at home, but for the book, it take a bit of a delay because I had to juggle things at home. But yeah, it's a 3 years creative process. I want this to be as rewarding experience as possible as the readers, because it's for them. The book is not for me, it's not an autobiography. It should be about them. The readers have to get the most value from the book and be able to take out the good points from the book, because I'm sure everyone's Kantoran office life is different.
Yes.
So there is no like manual book. I'm not trying to write a manual book for the audience. I'm trying to write a collection of stories that hopefully audience can learn from.
Who do you think is the ideal reader of your book?
So I would recommend readers with first year on the job, fresh out of school, first year on the job, trying to struggle with the office life. I would also recommend this book to readers considering their first career switch. So usually this happens on your 4th year or 5th year of your career when you're getting kind of good at what you do, but I'm not yet a manager. What needs to happen to my career? So I would recommend you to read this book as well. But also for people who have kind of left corporate life as myself, I think it's kind of a you will find a lot of nostalgic stories about office life there.
For reflection.
For reflection, probably. Yeah.
So, how do you see the trend now? I think we've gone through a couple of, monumental time, COVID-19, and now the rise of social media as well. How do you see the
war
as well? How do you see the change in people careers that was previously following their passion? What do you think they're currently, looking at right now? Are they starting to realize that it's more important to hone their craft, their mastery, or is it for them more important to become social media famous?
I think we're in a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
We are seeing young Gen Z workers who are taking it online about almost everything. So they talk about their office as open, more open than the previous generations were. Sometimes they're not aware that doing TikTok videos with me wearing the office uniform is not okay, lol.
Yeah.
So those things happen also, but I think at the same time, this is a good opportunity for us to, as employees, start healthy conversation online about how an office environment should be, because different generations have different say about what is an ideal place to work. The Gen Zs probably do not want to go to the office as much. Baby boomers would still want to have an offline meeting.
Right.
So I think the social media has created a great melting pot for all people from all walks of life to talk about it openly. And actually in this book, I also encourage people to be more active in deciding their career path, because we have so much to learn. We have multiple channels. In my generation, it's very hard to find people who I want to look up to. I used to chat people on LinkedIn and ask them to meet for coffee.
Right.
But now you can just TikTok someone or tag someone on Twitter and they will hopefully respond. It's faster. So I think today's generation, they need to be more be more agile, be more focused on their career, because you have the technology to help you.
So you gather all this response from the employees. Have you gathered some information from the employers themselves?
Okay, that's a good point. So I think this book can be quite a bit more skewed towards the Kantoran people, towards the office people, but I did my fair share of interviewing directors and senior level to also gauge their point of view of office life. So I think I would like to say that it's fair, but let the readers judge later.
Okay, great.
So you're talking, this book is for guys that just started working 1-2 years. But we know that you had a book before that released. That's a different one for different kind of crowd. Can you tell us a little bit about that book and the difference between that and this one that's coming out?
So the first one was called Lagi Probation. It's focused more on fresh graduate audience, because actually I did one research with my followers. I set up a poll once and asked them, how many of you have had the opportunity to be guided by your university when you're graduating? So when you're finding a job, it's your final semester at campus, what should you do? And I asked them, does your campus have a career center? So 70% of them said no. No, we don't have a career center at our office. So that's why this book was focused more on creating a step-by-step path for fresh graduates. So by the time they graduate, they would know what companies are expecting. They would know how to write down a good CV, how to do a convincing interview. Interestingly, a lot of Indonesian students still think that job interviews and skripsi interview is the same. Final thesis interview, thesis defense is the same. I always tell them, no, it's not the same. because if you fail an interview, you can do another one.
Yeah.
It's not like thesis. So there's still an image that a job interview, you're meeting a very important, very
authoritarian
individual.
figure.
That's
yeah.
right. So that's what I try to convince them. No, it's just a person who's employed to do an interview work, and he's been there maybe longer than you. So yeah, I'm trying to eliminate that kind of fear and just be friends with the job seeker. So that's kind of the difference. The first one is more for job seekers. Second one is for office worker who's been in the job for quite a while.
How did you think was the reception for the guys who are actually coming out of universities, going into the corporate world?
Generally?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think there is a gap. I think initially I started recruiting in 2012, 2013. So there was a gap initially that I see. A lot of companies at that time were dealing with it with management trainee programs. So the trend was that you graduate, you try to get on board an MT program for 3 years, and then you probably get a manager level position after that. I think the trend today, companies are shifting from more of a permanent approach, MT approach, to an internship approach. I think that trend is also visible from the government with the Campus Merdeka program, which I support. That's a very good program connecting a lot of state universities with companies. And I think students need to take advantage of this opportunity. You only need to commit 6 months of your life or even 1 year of your life, and you get tons of experience. So I think as students, we really need to get a lot of experience before we graduate, so we can be more advantageous when we look for a job later.
Right, true. All right.
So you mentioned earlier a lot of people that are probably our age or older are victims of trying to find your passion. Well, what actually is
Including
more yes. Well, actually, what's more productive is to be good at our craft, our self-mastery, right? So what about you yourself? You started out in HR, in a financial world, and now you're a content creator. How does that journey look like, and what are you trying to master right now?
Okay, so I was a shallow young fresh graduate in the beginning. I was really convinced on finding the right place for me. That's why I move jobs a lot. And you can easily Google me on LinkedIn and find my CV. I move jobs every 1 or 2 years. So I wouldn't recommend that to people, but that's my path. And I think in the process, I learned that there is no such thing as an ideal workplace. And there is no such thing as, oh, this person is bad to me, this person is good to me at workplace. There's no black and white when you interact with people at work. It's always what is your intention? My intention and your intention might be different, and we meet at the same meeting. I might think that you're annoying because you're against what I'm saying, but that's not personal. It's business. So along the process, I learned that I need to have a set of skills that I master. I need to have something that I can sell as a professional, because
sort of your toolbox, right?
Yes. At the end of the day, we're commodities.
We're a collection of toolbox that we continuously carry, right?
That's right. I like to say that, okay, if you look at a shampoo aisle at the supermarket, there are brand A, brand B, brand C. This is anti-dandruff, this is extra moisture. You're just a shampoo in the line of different products. So that's what I tell my followers. So, and then what kind of shampoo do you want to become? So okay, I'm an anti-dandruff shampoo, so male with so, you will attract the kind of audience that you have,
that needed you,
the set of skill that you have. So I try becoming a more project manager focused HR. So in my maybe the past 3 years of my career has been focused on project management for HR department. So usually I would get the jobs that no other departments want to do or know who to do. Okay, we're acquiring a new IT system, Sam, go do it. Okay, we're doing this engagement survey for the employees, Sam, go do it. Those kind of projects that are irregular.
But the beauty of that is that you can actually pick what you want to master, right? And it's actually something that excites you, that you're good at, right? You're probably a very good or strict project manager.
I don't know.
Every time you go,
So how's the transition like from becoming an HR/project manager to becoming a full-time content creator? A lot of people are actually aspire to become one.
Yeah, so I think what I would say to those aspiring to become one, start with the mindset is you have to try to be useful to people online, because people on the internet they don't have a lot of time. Usually they want to be either educated or entertained.
Yeah.
So either you are very inspiring or you are funny.
Yes.
So I'm not a very funny person. So I try to inspire and start with what you know. A lot of us think that, oh, I'm only a HR staff with 8 years of experience. I know nothing lah. For now, it's my time to learn. But what we don't realize is that 8 years of experience is valuable to fresh graduates.
That's right.
People who know with no experience. So I would say, as long as we are honest, as long as we are willingly sharing useful things. Do not deceive people online. Do not scam people online. Just be useful. I think your brand will grow. Brand employer as a person, online will grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting part. So, Koh Sam.
Yes.
Good talk so far, but we're gonna have to take a break really quickly. But when we come back, we're gonna keep talking to you about this very, very good stuff. And guys, we're gonna take a quick break right now. Don't you go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.